Yo, this is it. I'm Mr. Fate, and you listen to Attack the Beats at IllMuzik.com. 5 beats, 5 reviews. That's what I do. And before we get into it, make sure next week you check out the Beat This competition. August 14th, 15th. This time it's going to be a flute theme. I know it seems kind of odd for hip-hop beats, but hey, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. And just try it. Maybe you'll surprise yourself. You probably will surprise yourself because, it's not often you hear flute and hip-hop beats and all that stuff. But anyway, give it a try and see how it goes. All right, so let's get into it right away. First up, we've got Arvin Armani with Devil in the Old Dress. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was Arvin Armani with Devil in the Old Dress. I don't know what kind of title that is, but anyway, yeah. So I like this beat, though. It's a good beat. Right away when I heard the reverse sound, I was like, oh, shit, that's right. I keep forgetting to do that for my own beats, because that's a good trick. You have your sample. If it doesn't fill out, let's say, your whole bar or whatever, let's say it fills out half. Okay, then you copy it and you reverse it so you fill out the whole bar right there. So it's really simple, and it works, But in the case that you have, I think that you should definitely have a low-pass filter. That's the type of style for this type of beat where, do what you just did, but just have another part where it's just a low-pass filter. You take out the high part of it, of the sample and stuff, because it does get kind of repetitive with that vocal snippet, right? I mean, it just kind of loops over and over and stuff, So to change it up, it's hard with samples sometimes to change it up because you don't want to, if you add certain instruments, it doesn't always fit with the sample. So what I usually do is I'll just copy it, do the filter thing and everything, and then then you could add some sounds on top because it won't really clash with that high-end part of the frequency that you have with the main sample. You know what I mean? So, and then when you had the first drum loop that came in, that was nice. But then when you came in with the main drums, I was like, I thought you were going to keep it, but then you did later on, so that was good. That blends really well because that's another trick. When you have, let's say, a breakbeat or something, and you could put that like a high pass filter. You loop that, and then you put that in the background of your drum track because that really spices up the drum track when you do that. So you did a good job on that. Like I said, the only thing that's really missing is a low pass on the main thing, the main melody, and maybe some instruments on top of that, whatever. So, but overall, it's a very dope beat. I like it. All right. Okay. So next up, we've got Beatmaker 80 with Nitty Gritty. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was Beatmaker 80 with Nitty Gritty. All right, so for this one, it's that lead synth. That's the problem with it, is that it's kind of like sampling in a way, because with samples, if you start with a crappy sample, most likely the beat's going to be crappy. I've been through that a million times. So the same thing with the synth. There's times when I'm looking through synths and, there's a lot of crappy ones out there too and stuff, but there's a lot of good ones too. And especially when you add effects. So even the one you have, you could keep it, but definitely add some effects or layer it with something else, like a piano on top. Like, for example, the melody you have, keep it, add some piano, let's say, with the same melody, the same notes and everything, but just just copy. Let's say it's a MIDI clip, so you just copy the MIDI clip and you assign a piano VST to that clip, and then boom, you got the sound that you have plus the piano on top. So it makes a big difference. But even then, if you want to replace the sound that you have, that's easy too, because the same thing. You just replace it with some other plugin sound or whatever. And the thing with the plugins is that when you look around, there's a lot of good ones out there and stuff, and a lot of them are default ones, the preset ones that they have. And when you switch it out, it makes a world of difference. I mean, one time you'll just find, all of a sudden you'll just find like a certain sound that just sounds really good, and you just replace it with that one, and it just changes the whole beat. So try doing that. The drums are good. I do like them, but I would recommend that you put them in stereo, because right now they're a little dry. You know what I mean? So put them in stereo. Maybe compress it a bit. It'll sound a hell of a lot better. What you did, what was nice though, was the percussion you had left and right. So that was really good. At least your panning stuff, because a lot of people don't really pan too much. So you did a good job on that. But try the drums in stereo, and try playing with the lead. Try swapping it out with something else. All right. So next up, we've got Can't Keep Still with Parole Model. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was Can't Keep Still with Parole Model. All right, so on this one, first off, the drums are really dope. I mean, they're nice and punchy, especially the kick and snare. The hat, it's a little, different than the kick and snare, but it fits. It fits really well. So good job on that. For the main synth that you have, it's good. It's just, like I was saying with the previous beat, I'd like to hear it swapped out with something else, just for the sake of it, swap it out with something else, and maybe it'll, obviously it'll change the whole sound of the beat or whatever, but just something different, because when, you did add the piano later on, then some strings, and at the end, the horns were really nice addition on that. But it's just that main synth lead. I was like, yeah, it's good, but, I'd like to hear it, something a little better than that, so but overall, it's a really good beat though. I like it. You've got all the ingredients in there. Like I said, the drums are really on point, nice and punchy. But yeah, it's just that lead. I mean, sometimes it's like that, you know. I mean, just that one thing, you know. And thank God for the for MIDI and for you know, VSTs and plugins and stuff. It's just because you could just swap stuff out, you know, and it makes a big difference, you know, instead of having to play an actual instrument. But yeah, anyway, try that, and I'd like to hear how it sounds with something different. But overall, it's a dope beat. I like it. All right, so next up we've got On a Calf with Interlude. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was On a Calf with Interlude. All right, so this one, the drums are definitely on point. They sound like they're in stereo, especially the kick, so I got no complaints about that. Really good job on the drums. As far as the rest, it sounds really tight. You know, I know how you use, you know, these weird sounds and stuff, but it works, you know. And the thing with this beat is that, you know, the downside of this actually is kind of like because it's one of those beats where it's missing some vocals, you know what I mean? Like, because some beats can obviously stay on their own, right? Like they can just be on their own and they sound really, really dope. Some beats are dope, but it's just that, you know, you want to hear some vocals on top, you know? So that's the thing with this beat. You know, just, I don't know, I'm listening to it, I'm just thinking back in the old days and you had like some song and you flip it on the B-side and you had the instrumental and this is what it sounded like. I'm just picturing that, you know, just playing on some B-side vinyl or something like that as the instrumental. So yeah, but it's a good beat. It's just that, like I said, because of those weird sounds, even though they're good, they stand well on their own. I just think with some vocals, obviously not for this competition, but the vocals, that would make a big, big difference, you know. So, but it's a very dope beat. Overall, the mixing's very, very good, so I like that. But yeah, it's one of those beats, man. That's it. But you know, it's hard to describe, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But it's a dope beat. I like it. All right, so next up, we got the last beat. It's the Sire Beats with Understood. Let's check it out. All right. Okay, so that was the Sire Beats with Understood. All right, so for this one, the thing with the sample beats is that when you're sampling, obviously, you know, it's like this one's very, very choppy, of course, right, with the samples. And the thing with that is that it's good in certain cases, but there's so many ways around it that you could work around it, let's say. So sometimes when you have, it's really choppy like that, like for me, when it's really choppy, I'll add some instrument behind it, on top of it, whatever, like some strings or something, just to fill out that space. Because I try not to have those gaps anyway, but if it happens, I try to add like let's say a VST on top of it, right? I try to play some synth on top of it to fill it out. But it's very hard to do it when it's very, very choppy like that. So in order to avoid the chops, obviously you can stretch it or whatever. You can just, fill out the gaps with other samples or something like that, so it's not so obvious. Or if you keep it the way you keep it, just put a very low volume in the background and stuff, and again with an instrument on top or whatever. So in your case, it's very, very noticeable, the chops, so it's okay, but it's just that it kind of gets annoying a bit, like as it goes on and stuff. That's just the way it is overall with beats like that. So and because of that, the drum track, even though the drums sound nice, they sound like they're just kind of sitting there with the rest of the sounds, you know what I mean? And it's a lot of times it's like that with sampling, right? It's like you have these samples, like you create this melody, but then you add the drums and it just sounds like the drums are just kind of just chilling in the background, like they're just there, you know what I mean? Like nothing special with them and stuff, So in that case, the main thing is just to find the right drum sounds, and then you could try to put it in stereo, compress it, whatever, add like a breakbeat behind it, like I was saying earlier and stuff. Just little tricks like that, just to spice up the drum track, so it doesn't sound like it's just, sitting behind the sample or whatever. So little tricks like that. But I do like the melody of the sample. It's just that, like I said, they're very, very choppy, and as a result, the drum track suffers. You know what I mean? So, but it's always a challenge though when you have choppy samples like that. The main advice I would say though is just try not to chop it like that. Try not to make it so choppy. And I think the only one that can really get away with that is DJ Premier, right? So. But even him, if you listen to them, it's like you can hear he puts, he'll have gaps, of course, but he puts other samples in between that sometimes to make up for it. You know what I mean? So, and then his drums were always nice and punchy and all that stuff. They really stand out. They're blasting, So maybe check that out. I don't know. Maybe check out Premiere and study that a bit. I don't know. But yeah. All right. So next up, that's it. That's the last beat. All right, so that's it for me. I'm Mr. Fade. This is the Attack of the Beats. Keep sending your beats in. I keep reviewing them. And my favorite beat is, the winner is, drum roll please, On a Calf with Interlude. Let's check it out.